Hello, my name is Alex. The Center of Advancement of Teaching has asked me to give a student perspective, especially for those who have visual impairments, such as myself, or low vision, or fully blind, legally blind, and to give some points about how to navigate the Canvas pages or digital content in general, how we as a community can figure out how to make digital spaces a lot more accessible and easy for not just people with disabilities, but people in general to be able to navigate and be able to use effectively. One of the biggest issues that I personally and other people that I know have run into has been the using of trying to find specific information through Canvas and looking at, where assignments are and everything, especially with the fact that every Canvas page is organized very differently. There's no one way, unified way for every Canvas page to look or to function, which means that for every different class that you take, it is a big learning curve. One thing with Canvas pages and how they are organized is a lot of times we will use pages and just have all of the information on one page, which for someone using a magnifier, it can be difficult because they can't see the entire page. They can only see a small window of it, versus people that are using a screen reader, they cannot go, it's going to read the entire page, so they have to read through a lot of the page, and they can only skip through it once they realize that it's not the right week or day, which when you're in a class and you have to try and navigate these classes very quickly, that can be a very big challenge.
This is the class syllabus, and as you can see, there's a lot of information laid out here. However, you'll notice that the information that is important is highlighted or is in some way indicated to make it very easy to be able to pull out the elements of this syllabus that are especially important, and to make it easy to jump to different links or different parts of the syllabus in the class. Like I said before, having things like this where it jumps out at you and it's easier to look at and be able to see makes it so that people with magnifiers are very easily able to find or reference what it is that the professor is talking about and to find out where they need to go.
And if you compare that to something like modules,
this is the modules page of Canvas, and as you can see here, the way that it's separated is very concise while still being very descriptive, which is very important for both magnifiers and screen readers because it cuts down on the amount of time it takes those people to either read or to listen to the title of something before they realize this isn't what I need to be looking at, so I need to keep looking for that module or quiz or assignment.
And this is also just a much easier way for students in general to find whatever content that they need.
If we go into the overview here, if you scroll down even further, there's these different pictures and headings that are once again keeping up with that theme of stand out, be noticeable, to make sure that it is easy for them to find it, or if they find it and they realize it's not what they need to be looking at, then they can write it off and move on. This is the first module. The other one was Start Here module. So this is a different module. And as you can see, it's laid out very similarly, which this is also important since people using magnifiers and screen readers have to rely heavily on their ability to memorize how the module is laid out. Having that consistency every week and for every class is very important to ensure that people using magnifiers and also screen readers will, they're going to know what assignments they have to do. They're not going to miss the assignment because it was somewhere that they didn't know they had to look, or they didn't know where this thing is, and they don't know how to find it.
One thing with Canvas that they do is they do not, or they have the links as being either black or being red, like a dark black or red, which if you're using a magnifier and you're zoomed out trying to look for a specific button, it can be very hard because it doesn't stand out. You have to understand that people using magnifiers, they can't, when they're looking at a full page, they can't read all of the text on that page. They're looking for what is the element on this page that stands out that I know I need to be looking for. If the teacher says, go find this link on my Canvas page, they're going to be looking for a blue underlined line of text, not something that's just black or dark red, especially if you're using something like on a phone or an iPad, which a lot of students use. A lot of students will go on Canvas on their phones on the Canvas app, which uses dark mode. And with dark mode, if you have these dark red or black links, they don't, to my knowledge, from what I've seen so far, they do not change color to fit the dark theme. So if you have a dark red link, it's going to be very hard for even students that aren't low vision but are in some way color impaired or colorblind will not be able to see it, because to them it will seem to blend in with the background of the page that they're looking at. Now, when it comes to posting PDFs or textbooks on your Canvas pages or in general for class resources, there's a lot of very important things that you need to do for that PDF in order for it to be accessible. One of those things is making it what we call OCR accessible. How you can tell right away if something is OCR accessible, a little cheat sheet is if you can highlight the text of your PDF on your computer, that usually means that it's OCR accessible, and that means that something like a screen reader will be able to pick up on it and be able to read it.
So this is an example of what we would call an OCR accessible PDF. As you can see, I'm able to select the text and I can press speech and start speaking.
Of culture is a politics of metaphor. It deals in the currency of signs and is.
But yeah, that's the main thing with OCR documents, is that you can highlight the text and actually have it read to you.
Exporting it as PDFs will generally make it much more clear of an image, which can be great for people with magnifiers, because as you zoom into an image, the resolution of the image gets worse and worse. So even though it may not look that blurry to you while you're fully zoomed out, when you have someone that's zoomed into it, it may be completely illegible, especially if they already have a vision impairment to begin with. It's just going to make it even worse than it already is.
This is not OCR compatible. As you can see, if I try to select this text, it has a very hard time being able to pick up on it. And also, if you try to zoom in, you can see it gets very blurry and hard to read any of it. It can be a lot more confused. It requires the computer to have some sort of understanding of how the text is laid out and formatted and when the document is not OCR accessible, the computer does not have that context to go off of to be able to understand how it is supposed to read this paper.
And when it comes to how you're formatting the final PDF, it can be important to make one page of the PDF equal to one page of the textbook. A lot of the times when people are putting together these PDFs, they will put 2 pages on one page, which sometimes it can mess with screen readers. And when it comes to magnifying the image, it will make it twice as blurry as it could be.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode. If you would like to learn more about this topic, please visit teaching.temple.edu.